What's going on, everybody? I'm Enrique Pinheiro, and welcome back to the Hawk Show Talk Show, a Seattle Seahawks podcast. You can find me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, and I also post highlights on TikTok, posts on Instagram, and tweets on Twitter. If you want to what's going on? What's going on, guys? I'm Enrique Pinheiro, and welcome back to the Hawk Show Talk Show, a Seattle Seahawks podcast. You can find me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, and I also post highlights on TikTok and posts and tweets on Instagram and Twitter. My handle on all these platforms is at Hawk Show Talk Show if you want to follow or keep up. And if you can't find it through that, you can go to my link tree, which is in the description or bio of just about all my platforms, which just gives you hyperlinks to every platform I'm on. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing the Seattle Seahawks trading for Raiders offensive guard Gabe Jackson, my reaction and my thoughts to it. So yeah, let's get right into it. Let's talk some Hawk. So last week, the Seahawks traded a 2021, this year, 5th round pick for Raiders offensive guard Gabe Jackson. And I'm going to start it off. I'm thrilled. I'm ecstatic about this trade. I'm so happy. First off, going into free agency, one of the biggest needs for the Seahawks was interior offensive linemen. That's centers and guards. We have a solid right guard in Damian Lewis, but our left guard is Mike Iupati, who was not very good, and our center was Ethan Posich, which was not very good either. And I'll get to him later. But yeah, we didn't have a good center. We didn't have a good left guard last year. So that was probably our biggest number one need in free agency, at least on offense for sure. And what did we do? Day one goes by. Right away, Kevin Zeitler to the Ravens. We showed some interest in him. Joe Tooney signs with the Chiefs. Nothing about us having interest in him. Corey Linsley goes to the Chargers. Nothing about us having interest in him. I can't think of any other examples from day one off the top of my head. But just I remember right away I was really disappointed. I was getting a little upset with Pete and John for not making any moves, letting all these big guys go. I know they're a lot of money. They're really expensive, but it's time. Russell, he spoke up. He complained. He was angry and upset that we didn't have a real good offensive line, and we just acted like nothing happened, and it made me very upset. And then day two, I believe it was, comes along, and like 5 p.m. or something, I get the notification that the Seahawks have traded for an offensive lineman, and I was like, oh, who is it? And I remember in my head, I was like, I hope it's Gabe Jackson, because I knew that the Raiders' offensive line was just being split up. Rodney Hudson had just, oh, that's another example. Rodney Hudson had just gone to to the Cardinals, and I was upset about that because I would have liked Rodney Hudson a lot. And I see all these offensive linemen get traded for like low-end picks, like Trent Brown to the Pats for a fifth or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I wish the Seahawks would do it. So I get the notification that we've traded for an offensive lineman, and I was like, please be Gabe Jackson. And I open up the full Rappaport or Shefty or whoever it was notification, and I see that we traded for Gabe Jackson, and I was so happy. And I'm like, all right, who was it? Like, did we boot Jerron Reed? Was it, I don't know who else, honestly, but did we trade a player? Was it a high pick? And I see a 5th round pick, and I was so happy. And I know we don't have that many draft picks for this draft, but honestly, I don't care too much. I don't watch too much college football, except I'm a Canes fan. I watch the Miami Hurricanes. I don't watch too much college football, though. I don't keep up with a lot of prospects. So late round picks, I don't really know most of the guys we draft, honestly. I knew like DJ Dallas last year, obviously, because I've watched him. But late round picks, I don't really know most of the guys, so I don't care too much. There's no one specifically I'd want in the 5th, 6th, or 7th round, or the 4th, honestly, badly. I do care about 1st and 2nds and 3rds, but for later rounds, I don't know any of those guys anyways, so it doesn't affect me too much. I hope to get into college football, but just at least this year, I didn't watch too much. Anyways, I was super happy. I know we don't have that many draft picks, but I was okay with it. And yeah, we got Gabe Jackson. Something that's super nice about this is that he has 2 years left on his contract. Usually, whenever the Seahawks trade for someone or even sign someone, it's a 1-year deal, and it's pretty annoying. Like, Clowney was only had 1 year left, or I guess, I don't know, Dunlap, he had 2 years left, but we cut him. And we kind of knew going into that we were going to cut him because no one wants to pay him 14 mil the next year, even though I want Dunlap back very badly. I'm still hoping for that. Got my fingers crossed on that. But I don't know. I just feel like a lot of time guys just leave after a season with us. Like we traded another example, Sheldon Richardson. We traded for Jermaine Kearse in like a third or whatever for him, and he left right after. We're just I don't know. I feel like guys usually leave after 1 year, so I was really happy when I saw he still has 2 years left on his contract, and then also he's getting paid 9 mil. I believe I'm not sure what the cap hit is exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's 9 mil a year. You can search that up if I'm wrong, but that sounds like a lot at first. You know, I was like, oh, 9 mil, it's like pretty expensive. But honestly, the other guys I wanted, Tooney, Lindsley, I'm not sure about Zeitler. I think Zeitler too. I know Tooney and Lindsay made like a ransom. So they were way more expensive. I think Kevin Zeitler was too. I'm not sure. But even if he, I don't think he was because I remember there was something that he chose his family over the money, which I respect that. I don't. That's cool. But yeah, Gabe Jackson, 9 mil might be a little expensive, but for what we're getting, it's a great deal. He didn't give up a single sack all of last season, and I'm pretty sure he was like sixth in the NFL for offensive lineman snaps. So that's crazy. A great pass blocker, what we've always wanted. This is huge. I've heard he's not as good in the run game. I've watched a little bit of film, some highlights. He's not as good in the run game, but not like Potty was. Fluker wasn't that even too good in the run game when we had him. So yeah, I'm really happy to get Gabe Jackson, an excellent pass blocker. Could improve at run blocking, but yeah, he's not too old. 29 sounds. I'm pretty sure he's 29. It sounds a bit old, but Dwayne Brown's like what 35. 29. He has a youthful soul. I'm sure Gabe Jackson does. He has like -5 receiving yards. I thought that was really funny for maybe some out of position play if we ever want to do that. Some George Fant uh, plays. But yeah, I'm very happy about this. I'm not sure where exactly on the offensive line he'll fit in because I'm pretty sure he was right guard with the Raiders. And he's had a great career with the Raiders. I'm not sure if there's any. I know there's no All Pros. I don't think he's made any Pro Bowls. But with offensive linemen, gotta go under the radar. And Pro Bowl's a publicity contest most of the time. So I'm sure the bigger named guys like Marshall Yonda or even Joe Tooney, for example, were getting Pro Bowl selections over him. So even if he's not Pro Bowl, I'm still happy. We've always had the bottom of the barrel offensive line, especially interior. So this is huge for us. But for him to fit in, he was right guard with the Raiders in his past, I'm pretty sure, and Richie Incognito was the left guard, at least this past season. And you think, okay, he's a right guard. Well, Damian Lewis is our current right guard, and he had an amazing rookie year, arguably our best offensive lineman, him and Dwayne Brown. And even when he had to move to center, he had very little notice. Like a couple hours before the game, I think it was that we found out that Postage and also Kyle Fuller were going to be out. I don't know if it was Kyle Fuller, if we I think it was still Kyle Fuller. That was out anyways. But he went in there and a couple of snaps weren't too good, I think. But overall, he had a great game, especially for such short notice. The main kind of bad thing about that game that people complain about was that holding call when DK burnt Pat Pete on the right sideline, and it was a great play by DK, great throw by Russell, and they called holding, and everyone's like, oh, Damian Lewis, it's like he's a center and he's holding. That was a bad call. That was a bogus call. That was not a hold. I remember that play very well. That was not a hold. That made me very mad, and I felt bad for Damian Lewis because hurts his rep. But it's all right because he went all rookie. He's a stud. And now with Gabe Jackson, the question is, do we move Gabe Jackson to left guard? Or do we keep Gabe Jackson at right guard and move Damian Lewis to left guard? Or do we even maybe have Gabe Jackson at right guard, like I just said, and Damian Lewis at center? Because maybe if he actually got some actual practice in before the season, he could be a good center. So I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure where Gabe Jackson will fit in, but I know he's a stud, and I'm excited for it. I don't want to make a whole episode on it, so I'll cover the Ethan Postage signing just in a little bit here. We signed him back for a 1 year deal. I have no idea what the cap hit is. The cap hit could be $0. We could be making money from it. I would still be unhappy. I am very frustrated that we signed Ethan Postage. This is a classic Pete Carroll, John Snyder move where we just bring back the same guy who just had a bad year. I know he had a better year than he had in his career in Seattle, but it still wasn't a good year. He was decent in pass block and atrocious in run blocking. And it's just really annoying because honestly, even if they're bad from another team, I would rather sign that bad player and kind of, maybe a change of scenery, try and fix them. But the Seahawks, what we do, like we always do, we just rinse, wash, repeat, bring the same subpar guys back and expect changes, and I don't really expect much. I'm not interested in seeing another year of Easton Postage at center, but it's looking like I'm gonna have to, and it's really annoying because David Andrews was still available. He was still a free agent. Now he re-signed with the Patriots, but he was still available, and we went the Ethan Postage route. And maybe we'll draft a center. I've been seeing a lot of prospects. I think Quinn Ramirez. I'm not sure if that's correct. Is is one of them that we might be looking at. We had to work out with, and he's a good center we could get with our second rounder. But either way, it's just annoying, in my opinion, to see him coming back like this, especially if he has to start. I'm unhappy with it. In other news, Jordan Simmons and Cedric Ogbuehi got re-signed. So that's, and I don't care too much. They're decent for being backups, especially Ogbuehi. He gets a lot of hate, but it wasn't too bad. He had like a couple bad games, but a couple decent games too. Don't care too much about those, but Postage is the main one that I'm upset with. But all in all that's important right now is that we got a good offensive lineman for once during the offseason. Gabe Jackson, I'm really excited to see you ball for us. Got high hopes for the season like I do every year. But yeah. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. If you have anything you want me to discuss or answer in a future episode, comment below depending on what platform you're on. Thank you so much for listening or watching. And yeah, have a nice day.